Scott Franks is an archaeologist who spends most of his time looking for traces of his tribe, the Yaara. He says this region, along with many others, is filled with evidence of massacre sites of his people when British settlers first arrived here.
If you weren't being shot, you wasn't speared, you were poisoned. To then celebrate a person for doing that's absolutely appalling in anyone's mind. I mean, in a civilised society, how could anyone accept that? It's appalling.
Some of those celebrated include Governor Lachlan Macquarie, who turned the Australian-British penal colony into a settlement, but also ordered the massacres of Indigenous people. His statue in Sydney's Hyde Park was defaced this week, as well as that of Captain Cook, the officer who first claimed this territory for the British Empire.
I mean, this proposition that you start revising, re-editing your history is thoroughly Stalinist.
So an additional plaque on Captain Cook's statue is fine by me.
The latest controversy was sparked with calls to change these words, that Captain Cook discovered Australia despite the Aboriginals' 60,000-year history here. Historians say the tone of the debate shows Australia is a long way off from making meaningful change.
More than 50 or 60 years of scholarship and growing awareness about the frontier wars, about the way Australia was settled. If this is still controversial now, it shows how far we still have to go.
It's feeding into a larger debate about changing the date of Australia Day, the anniversary of Captain Cook's landing, which Aboriginals say marks the start of their demise.
3 councils, 2 in the last week, have voted to change the date of Australia Day. Canberra, however, is opposed to any such move. It also doesn't want the wording on this inscription to be changed, which the City of Sydney has told us it may be willing to do.
The council is aiming to add rather than tear down statues, with 7 new memorials to Indigenous Australians in the works.
I think if we were going to go across the country on a statue-by-statue basis, modifying every inscription, we're dealing with the symptom, not the cause. Having said that, in places like Melbourne, they have altered plaques, and maybe we need to think about doing some of that.
A small, symbolic step that Scott Franks says could go some way to helping Aboriginals reconcile with the past and acknowledges their long-standing presence here. Yaara Melhem, Al Jazeera, Sydney.